Preddy gets in between the woman and the agent, who then appears to deploy pepper spray. As Preddy is being taken to the ground by a group of federal officers, one of them discovers he is armed with a handgun. Another officer opens fire.
We're talking about something very serious today. It's the killing of Alex Preddy in Minnesota at the hands of border agents.
So there has been another ICE shooting. This one has claimed the life of another young individual, 37-year-old white male American citizen.
You see, Donald Trump has overplayed his hand in trying to engage in his most despicable cover-up yet, and the American people are seeing this for the watershed moment that it is. Frankly, the people in the United States should have been well aware of this before, but this has now reached a fever-pitched.
Something's happening in America right now, something relatively strange. For the first time in a long time, the victims look like the people who normally feel the safest. Victim names: Alex Preddy, Renee Nicole Good, names that are quickly reaching martyrdom status and are becoming a stain to the already shameful legacy of America's current regime.
Is sickening. It should be viewed as treasonous by any real Americans when you see this footage. And they had the gall to say that Alex Preddy was like the instigator, labeling him a domestic terrorist I saw from a couple of places.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently. Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers around him, an agent fired defensive shots.
As Donald Trump and his regime attempted to defame Alex Preddy after he was brutally murdered in cold blood by the Border Patrol Gestapo.
White American civilians shot dead by law enforcement agents, and suddenly the country is paying attention. Did I mention that they were white?
I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out.
Don't pull it out.
But here's the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to say out loud. None of this is new. It's just new to them. In 2026, a series of fatal encounters involving US immigration and customs enforcement has triggered a wave of national outrage. Well, not just because the people were killed, but rather it's a matter of who was killed.
So there has been another ICE shooting. This one has claimed the life of another young individual, 37-year-old white male American citizen.
See, the profiles don't match America's usual script. Despite contradictory witness accounts, shaky justifications, and virtually zero transparency, the federal government has moved to quickly defend the agents.
The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted.
This is a trope a particular demographic is already used to seeing.
The video comes out as Charlotte police continue to refuse to release dash and body cam video of the shooting death of Keith Scott.
One piece of evidence will never, ever make a good case.
How about the media repeating official statements almost verbatim with no reprise? Another trope that a certain demographic is used to.
We cannot know what Mr. Scott's intentions or reasoning were that day, and Officer Vinson could not know that at the time. What he saw was a man who had drawn a gun and failed to comply with officers who commanded him at least 10 times to put the gun down.
And the victims, well, their reputations and humanity are already being posthumously placed on trial. And finally, that is another trope that a certain demographic is used to. You see, Those of us in the black community, we're watching a familiar playbook unfold. The only difference is this time, the victims are white.
His Second Amendment rights. In all of the videos that exist, there is not a single moment where he is reaching for the gun, brandishing it, threatening with it, or anything at all, and we have video that shows the entire interaction from start to finish.
The point is highlighted by the case of Keith Porter. Before the national spotlight ignited over the recent ICE shootings, there was another case that seemed to go over the heads of many people. On New Year's Eve 2025 in the Northridge neighborhood of Los Angeles, Keith Porter Jr., a 43-year-old father of two, was shot and killed by an off-duty US Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. The Department of Homeland Security described the encounter as a response to an active shooter and said the agent fired after Porter refused orders to put down a rifle. Neighbors and the victim's family dispute key details of that account, and if trend is anything to go by, normally it's the enforcement agents that are lying or fabricating. Advocates question why an off-duty federal officer didn't call local police and why the investigation has yielded few answers. That's another trope that we're unfortunately used to. Porter's death received minimal national media coverage and few broader protests followed.
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I would rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
No, I swear to God, I'll shoot you right in your face.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot! Drop the pot! Drop the
19 shots fired.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
America's black community are fatigued by and in many ways numb to the disproportionate violence and impunity of law enforcement against them. The first American civilian killed by an ICE agent, in this recent wave at least, was a black man, and yet barely anyone outside his community know his name. This was the moment when the rising threat should have been impossible to ignore, yet the outrage that followed later was not sparked until others, with different faces, were killed. For black Americans, this isn't some new crisis, it's a familiar script. Escalation, fatal force, institutional defense, and then character assassination of the dead is something that I've followed for more than 20 years.
You couldn't watch that footage, of course, and conclude that any threat, any peril whatsoever was motivating the behaviour of the man who murdered her.
Tamir Rice, 12 years old.
The guy was holding a phone. He never took a gun out of a holster. DHS lied about that. They lied intentionally.
Orlando Castile, Minnesota.
This is crazy now that I'm seeing people justify this guy's murder because he had a weapon. Wake the fuck up. This is America.
Freddie Gray, Baltimore.
You couldn't watch that footage, of course, and conclude that any threat, any peril whatsoever was motivating the behaviour of the man who murdered her.
Sandra Bland, Texas.
How are you going to make excuses for what just happened? How are you going to make excuses for that?
Eric Garner, New York.
That is not true. In all of the videos you see, he has a phone in his hands. Not a gun in his hands, he has a phone in his hands.
Walter Scott, South Carolina.
Watch the cell phone video that everyone else has seen, where her son shoots and kills an unarmed black man.
223, dispatch, shots fired. Subject is down.
Laquan McDonald, Chicago. Breonna Taylor. And we've seen the police do this over and over again. Like I said, I have been viewing and documenting these cases for 2 decades now. They haven't stopped, they haven't lessened, and they haven't got any less gruesome. You see, sadly, over and over, we have the same pattern playing out. First, we're told the state had no choice. Then the victim's humanity is negotiated. Then their past is dragged up, and every past act is exaggerated and demonized. Any past conviction for any offense, regardless of how minor, means you are no longer a human. You are a criminal worthy only of death. Their lives become a circus of unwarranted and unfair scrutiny. Now, watch what happens when the victim looks like the majority, like we're seeing in the case of Good and Pretty. Suddenly, questions come fast. Suddenly, the outrage is immediate. Suddenly, just following orders just doesn't sound good enough anymore. Suddenly, the victim is a human. America didn't suddenly become compassionate. They just became more vulnerable. They have just become more aware of their own mortality. They can recognize themselves in the victim and therefore recognize their own potential to be the victim. The struggle of the Black community should have been a warning to you. And now that same machinery has turned towards everybody else. So the only question that really matters now is, will America finally stand for justice? Will you finally see the humanity in those who don't look like you? Or will you just keep redefining what justice is to suit your own biases?
And then they proceeded to shoot and kill him after disarming him of the legal firearm he had on his person.
But you could watch that footage and find just enough to cling on to publicly pretend that you believe that.
Imagine what's happening in Minnesota was happening under Obama or Biden, where there were masked agents that were constantly surveilling you, and even at times asking for your papers, your documents to prove you're an American citizen, constantly needing to provide your private information to these masked agents. And these agents also had killed 2 American citizens.
Yes, that's what we've been going through this entire time. I'm just now you're experiencing it firsthand. So y'all practically like everyone else now. Before, you guys were like Superman and Superwomen, and like, hey, leave them alone. Now they're gonna shoot both of us.